Do you like the 4th of July holiday? I do. You know why I do? Because I get to spend time with family and I get time off of work. 4th of July holiday for me when my kids were little was we would go to the park and we'd watch the fireworks all the time. My kids love the fireworks and so do I. But now that the kids are grown up and they're taking their kids to the fireworks and they want to spend their family time, now John and I get to do what we want to do for the 4th. And I have a story from one of our first excursions on the 4th of July holiday without our kids. The first thing we're going to do is take the DIY beadboard and we're going to cover the longer board with a coat of white. So just cover the whole thing. The beadboard DIY paint is very highly pigmented, so it covers in one coat. Just cover the entire board and you're good to go. We like it hot. The hotter, the better. The year that we planned to go to our cottage for a week, we took a week vacation during the 4th of July. And we planned to go kayaking down the river by our cottage. So my sister takes off of work. So it's John and me and my sister. And we're gonna go down the river to a place we've never been. And there's a level 3 rapids. There's a level 2 rapids. There's a level 1 rapids. I think there were 2 level 2s and a level 3 rapids at the end. We went and checked it out the day before. Ooh, that looks kind of rough. Is this really what we want to do? Okay, we can do this. I can swim. I know how to kayak. John knows how to kayak. My sister knows how to kayak. We can do this. We can go down this river and go to this rapids and get to the end point. So we plan it for the next day. The smaller board, I take Hay Sailor and cover the entire thing. The next day, we get our drinks ready. We have our snacks ready. We have our phones in our plastic bags to protect them from the water in case we spill. We get in our kayaks right from our cottage. We're on the river. Perfect location, right? People go past us all the time saying they're going to Rocky Carry. That's what it's called. Rocky Carry is the level 3 rapids. They're going to Rocky Carry. Okay, they can do it. We can do it, right? So we get in our kayaks, life jackets. We don't have our life jackets on. We don't kayak with a life jacket on. We have it with us. So we get in our kayaks, we go down river. We're paddling. We're scared. Where's this Rocky Carry? Where's Rocky Carry? We got a map. I'm watching it on the GPS on my phone. And we got a map. And we know that the level 1 rapids is first. So we get to it. We hear it. Oh no, what do we do? On the whiteboard, make sure your paint is very dry because otherwise the masking tape will not stick to it. So when it's dry, you put a piece of masking tape where you want your first red stripe to be. So you're going to cover that up. Then to keep my lines straight, I take a piece of masking tape
and I place it right next to the first one. So I'm going to place it right down onto underneath the first one, and I don't stick the sides down, just the top. Then I will grab another piece of masking tape and place it underneath that one, adhering the sides. And this will help you keep your lines as straight as possible. Then after that one's in place, peel this one up and use it again as a spacer for your next stripe.
So we go through, we send John first. You're going first. You get through it, and then Gail and I will come after. And he says, well, I suppose I'm the man of the crew, so I should probably go first, right? I'll go first. So he goes through, it's a level 1. It's kind of rocky, but he gets through it. My sister goes next, I go next. You just follow the V, right? If you've ever kayaked before, you just follow the V of the water. You'll get down the rocks. So we did. It was so fun. Oh my gosh, that was great. So we get to the flat part of the river again. Off our life jackets come, and we still haven't had a drink yet. We're still scared. We're scared of the level 2 rapids that's coming next. Level 2 is next. And all of a sudden, we hear it. You can hear the water rushing. Get our life jackets on, put our drinks in our cup holders, seal everything up, and John, of course, is going to go through the rapids first again. And then, oh no.
I used DIY Carnival Red for the stripes. If you need any DIY paint, please head on over to thepainterphotographer.com and I'll ship it right to your door. Paint those in between stripes a solid coat of red. I decide to peel the tape up while the paint is still wet. You can do it either when it's wet or when it's dry. Just try not to touch the white stripes with your wet paint. And peel that up. You now have the flag stripes.
He goes through and he flipped his kayak. My sister goes next. She sees him. He's in the water. Kayak is upside down. I'm next. I see him in the water. He can't swim, but he's got a life jacket on. And he's standing. So I paddle backwards in my kayak, trying to stay and not let the river take me, because the river will take you if you let it. And I'm trying to stay up there, trying to stay by him so I can help him. So I get in this little shallow area and I tell him, just float down by me. Just let your kayak float down by me, I'll catch it. And then you come down and we'll get the water out of it. So he comes down by me in this little calm area, and we flip his kayak over and we have to hold it above our heads to get the water out. You got to slosh it back and forth because there's a lot of empty spots in this kayak that you got to slosh the water out of the hole. We finally get it out. So now he has to get in the kayak while it's in the water. He did. It's good. Back down the river we go. Woo! That was level 2 rapids. We got one more level 2. And at the end, we got a level 3 rapids. But we're not scared. We did 2. We did a level 2 and a level 1. We got through it. They were good. It's fun. So he lost a can cooler and he lost his beer in that rapids. So on we go.
I used an old stencil that I had, and I used beadboard and a old stiff brush. And the key to stenciling is making sure that your brush is dry of paint. You don't want any sloppy wet paint on your brush, so I just paint most of it off onto the cardboard on my table and get most of that off and make sure my brush is really dry, holding the stencil and then just doing a swirling motion to transfer that beadboard paint to that blue backing. And after you have it all, remove it. There's your stencil. I just used the stars on this one, and I did it 3 times.
We get to the next level 2 rapids. We're all good. We're experts now. We know what we're doing, right? We got this. We're expert kayakers. We got this. So we get through that level 2 rapids. We're having fun. It's hot. Sun is shining, beating on us. We're seeing eagles and ducks and deer and all kinds of wildlife, ducks and big rocks, and we're seeing all kinds of stuff that we've never explored that half of the river. We've explored the top half where there are no rapids, but not the bottom half where there are rapids. So all of a sudden we're coming upon the level 3 rapids. We hear it. It's not like the level 2. We hear that rapids. Oh my goodness. We better put our life jackets on. We get to the level 3 rapids and there's a dock sticking out into the water. We stop ourselves on that dock and we climb out onto the dock. We've learned that there's a boardwalk that you can portage your kayaks through that rapids, pulling them down that hill. And there's boardwalks. Someone made boardwalks out of pallets. And so you portage kayaks all the way down to the bottom half of the rapids. So we get out and evaluate the situation. What are we gonna do? Are we gonna go through the rapids in the water, or are we gonna portage down? Make sure you keep listening. You're not gonna believe it.
I like the age of the stars and stripes, so I took my DeWalt sander and I sanded all of my edges down, getting a really worn look versus a fresh paint job. I rounded my corners to make sure I didn't have any sharp edges, a quick sand on the back side and a quick sand on the front side. I did that for all of the stripes and the blue.
Okay, so we evaluate the river. It's really flowing. And they tell us that too much water is bad, not enough water is bad. Is it just right? I don't know. We've never done it before. Anyway, we've seen nobody else on this river, mind you. No one. It's the 4th of July holiday. Why don't we see anybody else going down that river? Maybe it's the wrong time of year. I don't know. But anyway, we all made a pact. What happens on the river stays on the river. No one will ever know that we portaged our kayaks. It's a half a mile rapids. We portaged our kayaks a half a mile down the hill on a boardwalk, pulling our kayaks behind us, and got to the bottom of the river, the bottom of the level 3 rapids. We feel so good about that. We're happy. We're happy as larks. We are so happy. We all put our kayaks back in the water. We get out into the river. All of a sudden we hear screaming. We hear screams of laughter. We hear screams of, that was so fun. That wasn't us.
I took a cloth and wiped off all the painting dust, and then I went in with DIY's Big Top. And to do white and red with Big Top, you're going to have smearing if you do all of them at the same time. So what I do is I go through and I paint all of my white stripes first, and then I go back through and I paint the red. And you no longer have smears. Another thing to note when you're using Big Top is if you pour it into a separate container, you will not contaminate your own container, and it's all natural. So if you contaminate your big container, it'll start to smell.
There were people behind us. There was 2 canoes and 2 kayaks behind us. And the first kayak comes down, and she's the one screaming, "Woohoo! This was so fun!" Then there's another one. "Yeah, loved it!" Then we stop and we ask them, we're in calm water right now, and we ask them, "You came down there?" "Yes, it was so fun! Our kids are in the canoes behind us." Your kids? How old are your kids? They're like 7 and 5. And they're behind you in a canoe? Yep. They're with my sister and my brother-in-law. And they're coming down in the canoe. Okay. So we watch. Sure enough, through this rocky carry, this canoe is coming. 2 adults, 2 kids. The 2 adults don't even have life jackets on. The 2 kids do. And they come down this rocky carry, flying down this rapids. And the kids were screaming with excitement and so much joy. And they wanted to go upriver and do it all over again. And there we were. What happens on the river stays on the river, right? Remember that pact? So we start paddling downriver. We're so sad. My sister and I are so sad. We waited for this day. We wanted to kayak that river. We wanted to do the level 3 rapids. And a 5 and 7-year-old did? In a canoe? And we didn't? So we paddle. John's paddling. He's happy as a lark. He already crashed once, remember? So he doesn't care. We pouted and said, we'll never do it again. We'll never have the opportunity again. A 5 and 7-year-old did it and we didn't. We pouted bad. Finally, John turns his kayak around and starts paddling upstream. What are we
Now to age the piece, I took DIY dark wax on my Paint Pixie brush and I waxed all the edges of my blocks. And this will give it a nice stain look. Plus also on the front where you see that natural wood, it will stain it dark. Even with the big top on it, it'll give it a darker stain so it no longer is that bright blonde wood. And after you go ahead and put all the dark wax on, you're going to take a cloth and you're going to wipe it off. And I don't like to go over the whole front of the piece because I do like the white to be a little whiter. So I just wipe off the edges of where the dark wax has gotten. And I wipe off all the edges so that you don't have sloppy dark wax. And then for the stripes, I did the same thing. I just did the edges and I didn't do the whole thing. If you like a really aged flag, you can go ahead and go over the entire board and then wipe it off. But I just like the edges to be aged. And I wipe them off. And then I also did the back sides just to finish them up. It gives them a nicer finished look.
We paddled our kayaks back upstream. We got to the bottom of that rapids. We put our kayaks back on land, back on the boardwalk. We portaged our kayaks a half a mile uphill, steep hill, steep incline. Got to the top, half a mile, pulling a kayak. We just did a half a mile pulling a kayak down. Now we're half a mile pulling it up. We get to the top. Okay, we're gonna do this, right? Well, I'm not pulling my kayak back down that hill. We're gonna do this. So we get our kayaks back in the water. John says, I'll go first. Wait, I need to document this. So I take my cell phone. This was before GoPros. I take my cell phone and I duct tape it to my chest. And I turn on my video. Because I'm going to videotape this going down this rocky carry. That's my GoPro. I got a cell phone duct taped to my chest. And John goes first. He gets down. My sister goes next. She's going down. You have to give space in between so you don't run each other over. So I'm coming down after the two of them. And all of a sudden I see John's kayak at the bottom. And he's sitting on a rock. And I went, what happened? And he said, I fell. And I stuck my kayak in the water. And I went sideways. And he goes, don't go down sideways. So I stuck it in the other side. I went backwards. Don't go backwards. I stuck it in the other side. I turned sideways. Don't go sideways. I stuck it on the other side. I straightened back out and went down the level 3 rapids. So now John's sitting on the rock and I did a complete 180 right in front of him in a level 3 rapids and made it to the bottom without tipping. He was so mad. So mad. So he had to go to shore and he had to walk down to the bottom and Gail and I had to rescue his kayak. We got in. He got in his kayak. Down the rest of the river we went to where our vehicle was. Now he's the sad one. And we are, woohoo! Woohoo! We did it! Haven't done it since. I don't need to. I don't need to go down that rapids again. But it was sure fun. That's how we celebrated the 4th of July one year. Have you ever kayaked? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear it. And if you have an adventurous story, tell me that too. Because that level 3 rapids was so fun.
Then after that dark wax dries, you're going to buff them either with a clean cloth or a brush. And you use twine and just tie them up into a little stack. And there you have it. A fun 4th of July decoration for your table, your coffee table, your dinner table, your party table. I did one vertical and one horizontal, and they turned out really cute, don't you think?
I hope you enjoyed this quick craft, and I hope you enjoyed my story. If you need any IOD products, DIY paint, please visit my website, thepaintedphotographer.com. And if you like this story and you like my project, please share it with your friends. That would really, really make me happy. If you're not already subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. And if you hit the notification bell, it'll let you know every time I have a new video. And I might even do more stories. Did you like the story? Do you like the way I tell a story? Please let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. And until next time, happy painting and stay in your kayak.